What's up, y'all? It's Hashim.
And Johnetta.
And this is the House of Lafond podcast. And I want that. If you hear this beep, it's like the metronome of our house. It's a smoke alarm.
We changed the battery.
Yes.
It keeps beeping.
Yes.
We're safe.
And to if you listen to the whole podcast, a good test is how many times did it beep, and I'll know that if you're really a good listener. So you did a video recently.
I did my Netflix documentary.
Yes. No, you didn't do a whole Netflix documentary, Johnetta.
They're asking for it.
They're asking for it.
They're asking.
So is this your documentary?
This is the prequel.
Okay. The first 8 pregnancies.
The first?
All right. Matter of fact, speaking of first, let's just go all the way back. There was a miscarriage.
Well, yes. Do you want me to tell you how I told you, or no? Do we need to delve to the?
You're better with details. I'm better with how I felt.
Okay, so people have been in my comments. They want to know how I ended up with 8 miscarriages. Not 8 miscarriages. They want to know how I ended up with 8 C-sections, and why we have a large family. So, little backstory on me.
It's because of that body.
I mean, I'm not going to deny.
Okay.
But I was diagnosed in high school with endometriosis. And I was actually told after my endometriosis surgery that I wouldn't be able to have children.
Well, would you look at that? Me and God heard that and was like, that's not going to.
And yes, Hashem was there at the time. He was my boyfriend. We've been together since high school.
I've always been her man.
Why are you making this so awkward?
I'm not. No, I'm just letting you know. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I don't even remember. Well, yeah, she was born in 2014. So this sometime in 2013. Hashem had gotten sick. He got a little cold. Man cold. You know how they get. It's true. So I was like, I'm going to run out and get you some medicine. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run to the store real quick. I'm going to go get you some Tylenol, some NyQuil, some Dayquil, all the medicines.
All the quills.
Right. In reality, I was running out to go to have a pregnancy test. So I went to my clinic.
That's real sneaky, by the way. You've done this about 10 times.
I have.
It's very sneaky.
I've definitely snuck out and gotten pregnancy tests. So I ran out and made an appointment real quick, had a pregnancy test done, and behold, I was pregnant. So then I had to actually go to the store because I had to come back with the medicine so that he knew that I was going to get medicine. While I was at the store, I got a baby balloon, I got baby spoons, and maybe a pacifier, but I can't remember what. And I had the folder that said my pregnancy and due date.
I didn't see the folder.
I
was immediately offended. You got me a pacifier. Got me these baby products. I thought you was playing into he's man sick. He's a big old baby. So I didn't understand.
I definitely fed him his the NyQuil with the baby with the baby spoon. I'm funny. I didn't really have a plan on how I was gonna break the news that I was pregnant.
And I was supposed to understand that.
He didn't get it at first.
This means I'm having a baby because I'm drinking medicine from a baby spoon.
So then I had to show him the folder with the paper in it that says pregnant. But later on that day,
I thought it was my results from my hospital visit.
You didn't even go to the hospital.
Okay, good.
Man sick. Later on that day, I started bleeding. And it got heavier and heavier. And I called the clinic and they said, it could be nothing. If it keeps going, it could be a miscarriage. Come in, get your levels checked. Did I get my levels checked for that one? I can't remember.
Yes, because we wanted this to happen. This is around the time we were like, oh, this is gonna be it.
Right. So I was getting levels checked and they kept dropping. So they confirmed that it was a miscarriage. And we actually didn't tell very many people. your mother knew, my mother knew, and I told one friend from church, and she basically told me the best advice that like allowed me to heal completely. And she said, I think every baby has a purpose. Even if that baby's purpose is to prepare your body for it to be a home for its sibling, basically. And I was like, ooh, ugly cried, hot mess. And about a month or two later, you took the test with me, though. I took a test. I didn't surprise you with anything.
No, you peed on it. I didn't pee on it.
No, but you were there.
Okay.
With me. You were with me.
Yeah. Because I'll be very, very, I'd be scared for the results.
There's only one option for a result would be negative.
I'm just saying.
What are you saying?
I don't know.
Anyways, so I was pregnant. And that pregnancy became the lovely firstborn, Anaiah Marie Lafond.
We're not going to talk about conception?
No, because you have one story. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
No.
All right, well.
Move on.
Listen, if you want to, like, conceive a baby, I have just a trick for you. Okay. I have just, DM me. I'll let you know. Since I can't say it here. It's the truth. It's what happened. But good.
Moving on. So, Anaiah was due on our anniversary, July 15th. Well, she was due the 15th. She was due the day before our anniversary.
Okay.
She was due the 15th, but our anniversary was the 16th. So, I remember we went out to celebrate, and I was huge. And we went out to celebrate, like, baby's due date, but she's not here. Happy anniversary. But we were like, okay. And so my doctor scheduled me a week later because I was 41 weeks at that point, a week later to be induced. And we were excited. So we go in.
Or my brother called her Anaiah late.
Yes, because she was a week late. So I had the induction medicine that they gave me was Cervidil. It's inserted. And there's 2 doses. So there was a dose when I first got there. And once you take Cervidil, you're not allowed to get up. You can't even get up to go to the bathroom. I had to go to the bathroom in a bedpan. I was traumatized from that. That was awful. That's disgusting. That was gross. So I wasn't allowed to get up. Took Cervidil. And then they gave me a first dose. Laid in bed, watched TV. Knocked out.
Well, you're pointing for the audio. You're pointing at me.
You were knocked out, sleep. They gave me my second dose of Cervidil.
I was resting my eyes.
And we were just excited. We were just going to wait for her to come. In the morning.
No one talks about what to do in that time.
Oh, it was quite boring. It was quite boring. In the morning, did I eat? I can't remember if I ate. They might not have let me eat. I can't remember that part.
I don't know, but it exited.
I woke up with the worst stomach ache. Imagine being in labor and having food poisoning at the same time.
I'm trying to imagine.
When I tell you I've never had stomach pain so bad, I don't even know how to describe it. It came out from everywhere. I was throwing up. It was bad.
Everywhere?
Everywhere. My body released any liquid that I had in it. It was the absolute, any solid liquid that was in my body. It was everywhere. Mm-hmm. I literally felt like I wasn't going to make it. It was so bad.
We should insert B-roll of the actual footage of this happening.
I don't think you recorded that.
No, I didn't record that.
It was so bad to the point where they gave me morphine to put me to sleep so that I could rest before I had to deliver her. Because they were like, you're not, like, they knew I wouldn't have had the strength to be able to deliver a baby after that. It was so bad. And I started shivering. It was awful.
I didn't know you were going to say shivering. I thought you were going to say something. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I had what is considered an allergic reaction. Apparently, it's 1 in a million people are allergic to Cervidil. I'm one out of a million. So I fell asleep. When I woke up, my mom was there. You were there. Your brother was there. And I wasn't actually asleep. I remember not being fully asleep. I told you this. I was just like, I just couldn't move. I was just like knocked out, kind of. Like too tired to function. But when I officially like regained consciousness fully and was awake, I was like, okay, I feel better. I'm okay. But my stomach was still cramping really bad. And we weren't sure if it was from contractions or if it was from me being sick. So they decided to give me an epidural. I got my epidural. They let me lean on my husband, which made it a lot better. And they don't usually let you do that. So I got to hug him and lay on you while they gave me my epidural.
On these pecs.
And a couple hours have passed, and my doctor actually wasn't supposed to be there. She was supposed to be on vacation. I said vacation because she happened to be in the hospital that day.
Not much of a vacation.
Right. So I guess they told her everything I was going through, and she came in to basically check on me and say, I'm sorry you're going through all this. I can't let you go through this alone. I'm going to be here. And I cried. I was like, thank you so much. This is awful. I can't believe I'm going through this. This is not how I wanted my labor. And I was in the room with the tub because I was supposed to get in the tub. I was supposed to have this beautiful birthing experience. So I birthed at what is called a birthing center inside of a hospital, which I think I would advocate in my near future that all hospitals should be designed like this. That they should be birthing centers in hospital settings. Because if it wasn't for that hospital setting, I don't think we would have made it. So I wanted to get in the tub. I wanted to have the natural birth, no medication, nothing. But because I was going through so much, I needed the medical intervention. And I don't think a at-home birthing center would have allowed me to have that experience or had that support. Mm-hmm. So after I had my epidural, Anaiah's heart rate started dropping. And the nurses would just run in and try to move me and turn me. They didn't tell me exactly what was going on. You would hear it start beeping on the monitor. You saw it. You said it went as low as like 80, which was like crazy. They started turning me and everything. Mind you, I had an epidural, so I'm numb from like my waist down. And they were like, Johnetta, can you get on your hands and knees? And I'm like, I got hands and I got knees. They work. I can't feel them, but I'm going to do it.
You can definitely do that.
So I got on my hands and knees after my epidural, or with the epidural, and to try to see if Anaiah can move around and get more oxygen. And nothing was working. And apparently her heart rate had dropped so low that it became an emergency C-section. So they started wheeling me down to the OR. They started prepping me while walking down to the OR. So all the prep, the shaving, the catheter, all that stuff is like happening basically in the hallway on my way. They give him his spacesuit. It legit looked like a spacesuit this time. It was all white. It was onesie.
They call it a
is zipped up. I don't know what they actually call it, but it wasn't like scrubs.
I was ready for whatever. I was ready to whatever I needed to do.
It wasn't scrubs like you had recently.
They have a really good way of making me feel important, like I'm needed in the room.
No, but you do a lot. You do a lot. You've done a lot.
Talk about it. Okay, spacesuit.
So they gave you a spacesuit. My mom actually was there for this delivery. And you both got to come into the room with me. I was still very much out of it. Now I have an epidural, and they gave me more medicine because it turned into an emergency C-section. And I just remember the whole procedure starting, and are you okay? They kept checking on me. Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm so tired. I'm so tired. That's all I could say. She was born, and apparently the cord was wrapped around her neck, 3 times or something crazy like that?
3 times.
You cut the cord. I got to cuddle her, kiss her.
I kicked the cord a little bit too. Let me choke on my baby.
Oh, understandably so. I probably would have too. I tried to nurse her a little bit, but because I was so intoxicated, like with so much medicine, I couldn't handle all of that. I wanted to, and they were gonna let me, so I did some skin to skin, but not for very long. Not what I wanted or what I had envisioned.
I did skin to skin because I did what I was told.
Yes.
And
you did
kind
great.
of felt the way about that.
Well,
because she latched onto my chest right here, like. I was like, that's not what you're looking for. But I was fascinated that the baby naturally tries to find to nurse.
Yes. But at the time, I was upset.
It might have been a chest pimple.
That's disgusting.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyways, after she was born, you took her, and all I could do was go to sleep. I literally I was like, she's born, okay, I'm out. And I don't remember anything else. I woke up in my room, and I woke up in my room, it was like a movie. I woke up in my room, and everybody was standing around the room. And I woke up and I was like, and then I just remembered, I was like, oh my God, I had a baby! Where's the baby? What happened? Because I didn't remember everything. And then before you guys let me have her, I was like, wait, I think I'm going to be sick. And they were like, okay, you just got to calm down. You just got to take it slow. Hold on. Just breathe, relax. And I was like, oh, okay. Because they're like, the last thing you want to do is be sick after a C-section, understandably, because if your muscles contract, that's a pain. And I didn't actually get sick, but I felt like I was dizzy. I felt like I was going to be sick. And then they handed me Anaiah, and she was perfect. And I had this big hole in my stomach.
I think at that moment, the thing I remember most, too, is me going out into the hallway and seeing my brother.
Oh, you cried.
He said, congratulations. He gave me a hug. Man, I cried like a baby.
It was before that.
Well, whenever it was. I don't know what part.
When we found out that I was going to have a C-section, we both cried.
But that was my first time, like, because I think in the room I had to be strong for you.
Yes.
And strong for everybody else.
Yes.
I got to, like, release as soon as I got out that door.
Yes.
And then I was like, all right, I'm ready to go back. And I came
My mother
back
took a picture.
Came back like a thug. Huh?
My mother has a picture.
She has a picture of that?
Yeah, I think it's in her book. Insert.
Burn it.
Book.
Burn it. I didn't cry. Like, it was like.
Tears.
I think I was posing for the picture, if anything.
Sure. But I would say Anaiah's birth, with all due love and respect, was slightly traumatic. Extremely traumatic.
So she kind of like ruined it for everybody else? Oh, no, not ruined it. But like set the scene. Like, hey, this is how we come out in the Lafond family.
I would say yes and no. Because her sister.
If you see me looking over there, that's because Anaiah's right there and Zariah's right there.
Not that face. I think Zaire had a lot to do with it, actually.
Zaire had a lot to do with what?
The reason why I have 8 C-sections.
Really?
I think it could have been 1 C-section and then 7 or more natural births.
Tell me more. We want to know. Me and everybody that denied that you had 8 C-sections.
So Anaiah was perfect. Everything was fine. Healing sucked. I would say anybody that gets pregnant, my biggest advice to pregnant women is know as much about a C-section as you do a natural birth because I felt like I was super uneducated because I didn't think it was going to happen. I planned for this beautiful natural water birth in this tub. Yes, it was in a hospital, but it was still in a tub. And I thought it was just going to be this beautiful, harmonious, like, Black love moment. You in the tub, me in the tub.
We had a playlist.
Yeah, it was, and candles were lit. It was supposed to be a vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew what to expect that way, but I didn't know what to expect after a C-section. So I'm still bleeding as if I delivered naturally. I can't laugh, cough, or sneeze. When you first, after delivery, they try to tell you can't eat. But that actually made me feel sick because I was so hungry. Granted, I released everything in my stomach before she was born anyway. So that might have had something to do with it. But I now know that after I have birth, I have to eat significantly quickly after I eat or I will get sick. There's a gas pain. You get a gas pain from your body being open and air getting trapped inside your body once they close you. You get this gas pain in your shoulder that, shoot, I was like, am I having a heart attack? Like, what is this pain? I couldn't get control over it. But they don't tell you that. They don't let you leave the hospital until after you poop because they want to make sure everything, all your bowels and everything is functioning properly. And it hurts to do that. But if you take stool softener...
All your bowels.
Uh-huh. I don't understand.
I don't know. I probably need to read more. It's all. How many bowels do we have?
What if I just...
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Maybe the people want to know.
They have to make sure your bowels are working properly and all of your organs are working properly.
I saw all of them, by the way.
Are they pretty?
They're beautiful. Beautiful organs.
Nice.
It looked like The Walking Dead, but it was beautiful.
Something about that doesn't sound beautiful. So taking stool softener before it's time to deliver and after.
You're beautiful inside and out.
You can literally say that out loud.
I know.
C-section, Dad. Make that a t-shirt.
No, it's going to be called a D-section.
No, because that would be any dad.
Proceed.
Okay. So I would suggest being fully informed or equally informed on C-section and recovery and delivery as you would be on a natural birth. Moving on. C-section number 2.
We're only on number 2. You got to speed this up, Johnetta.
You know, it'd be funny if you insert it and I talk to the guys like.
I'm not doing that. Don't put more work on me.
But that would be really funny. So C-section number 2 is Zariah Rose Lafond. And I call her my party in a package because she was born December 31st, 2015. So I had a child 2014 a child 2015.
I remember the birthdays. The years?
They are approximately 16, 17 months apart. So less than 18 months. Not recommended.
You're ready to get back into it, right? I was under the impression that after I thought C-sections, like the recovery was less than 6 weeks. So I'm like, what are we waiting for? Everything's still there.
Nope. It's not.
You know what that was?
If anything, the recovery is longer because you feel like all your organs are going to fall out of your stomach.
I could rearrange them.
They have been reorganized. So, Zariah was fun. I had a doctor's appointment, December 29th, I want to say. Was it 29th? Or the 30th?
I don't remember.
I either had a doctor's appointment December 29th or December 30th. My days start running together.
Those are the type of things I don't remember.
And I think it was December 30th, first thing in the morning. So I'm getting Anaiah into the car. You are locking the door to the house, and you were going to come across the street to get into the car. As soon as I finished putting Anaiah into her car seat, buckled her up, I put one foot in the car, and when I went to squat down, sit down in the car, I popped back up because my water broke. And I was like, and you turn around and look at me, and you're like, what's your problem? Get in the car. Nope. My water just broke. And you come running across the street. Yo, what? My water just broke. I'm going to run upstairs and put on some clean pants and grab a towel and some pads. And you're like, no, wait, we got to go to the hospital now. What do you mean go upstairs and change? I'm like, I'm outside the house. Why do I need to ride all the way there wet when I could ride there dry and comfortable? That doesn't make sense.
You do most things wet.
Why are you making... You said this needs to get sped up.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I go upstairs. I change. And I get back in the car and I tell you, I need you to stop at Dunkin' Donuts.
Now, as if this wasn't pressure enough, you want me to stop, go in.
You could have went through the drive-thru. The line for the drive-thru was really long though because it was rush hour.
So I ran in. And I had to tell them, like, you weren't there for this part. And I had to tell them, like, hey, what was your order?
I don't remember. I probably
Whatever
wanted a
your order
sandwich
was.
and some
I was like, hey, I just need
chai
a fast
tea.
because my wife is in labor. And they were like, what? And they started like doing everything fast. You know, people move fast, like they're doing something faster, but they're not. They're just shaking like this. And they got everything. And I'm like, congratulations, but I'm gonna get back to your hot chocolate, whatever that. What'd you order?
Oh, it might have been like a hot chocolate mixed with white chocolate combo.
Like a warm chocolate?
No. White and dark chocolate. White and milk chocolate combo mixed.
Mixed chocolate.
Mm-hmm. We had to feed Anaiah too.
By chocolate.
Sure. Anyways, so I had to get my Dunkin' Donuts. My theory on getting Dunkin' Donuts was I needed to eat before I got to the hospital because once I get to the hospital, there's a possibility they might tell me I can't eat. That would be terrible.
You can slow down, Janelle. You don't have to speed up. You know, I can speed it up. You don't have to talk faster.
I wasn't talking faster.
Go ahead.
You told me to hurry up.
Made me dizzy just now.
So, anyways, so I got my Dunkin' Donuts. We're leaving Boston to go to Rhode Island because I'm delivering Zariah in Rhode Island. And we had moved back to Boston. So, same hospital, same birthing center, but in a hospital. Again, have the nice big tub. I'm ready to give it. We're going to do it again. Round 2. Second chance. VBAC. Here we go. Water broke. She's coming.
Be back for the VBAC.
What does that mean?
I'm just saying stuff, Janelle. It's like ad-libs.
Yeah, you're making this take longer.
I'm sorry.
You're only on kid 2.
All right.
And I haven't even delivered it yet. So we get to the hospital and they check me. Yep, your water broke. And I is sitting in her stroller eating her donuts. And they're like, you're not leaving. You got to stay here. I can't leave the hospital because I just had a C-section.
I ordered her donuts too.
Of course she got food. We had to feed the baby. So you can't leave the hospital. Some people are allowed to labor outside the hospital in the hallway and walk around. I'm not allowed to because I had just had a C-section less than 2 years ago. So I have to stay monitored. So they have to keep me hooked up to monitor so they can monitor Zariah and make sure everything, her heart is beeping properly and contractions are happening and all the things. So I'm actually not allowed out of my bed. Which sucks. So I sit there. And they're like, so who's coming to get this baby because she can't be here when you deliver? What? Okay. So I call a bestie. She comes and gets Anaiah. Anaiah gets to hang out with her friends for a day or two. Probably just a day. And we wait. And we wait. And we wait for what feels like forever. This whole day has now passed. It is no longer the 30th. It is now the 31st.
Cutting close on the tax thing.
Well, she wasn't due until January 4th anyway, but she decided to come a little earlier. So now it's a new day. And they keep coming in and asking me, are you having any contractions? Nope, I feel fine. Nope, everything's good. No contractions. Nothing yet? No. Okay, here's the deal. We're going to check you one last time. And once we check you, things are going to start to move quickly or quicker because once we check you, you are now at risk for an infection. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. They check me, no dilation, no contractions. What's the plan?
Normally I would check at that point.
Never.
I've definitely checked.
Never.
I definitely tried to help.
You've tried to help.
I helped with Biggie, the next pregnancy.
Can you let me finish? And that's not the next pregnancy.
The one after. My pregnancies are running together.
Terrible. So because there's no progression in my labor hasn't progressed, they decided another C-section. They didn't want to give me, what is it called? What is it called?
I don't know.
It induces It induces contractions. Oh, what is it called? Starts with a P.
Go on with the story. I'll come back to it.
Sorry, I still have mommy brain. I'm still recovering. I forget the names of everything. You're lucky I remember my kids' names and their birthdays.
Pitocin.
Yes, they were gonna give me Pitocin.
I'm so smart. I remember everything.
But they couldn't give me Pitocin because it would cause the contractions to be too strong, which the fear was it could cause my uterus to rupture because I had just had a C-section not long ago. So they decided they didn't want to take the risk and give me Pitocin. So they said the safest option would be another C-section, especially because I was at risk of now having an infection because my water has broken and they've checked me more than once. And a full day has gone by. A full day has gone by. And then I had to wait another 6 hours about because they want my stomach to be empty before I deliver, or at least, not fresh food in my stomach. So then 6 hours. So I labored for about 30 hours waiting for that, for Zariah Rose. And it turned into another C-section. They gave me some medicine that was supposed to stop me from feeling sick or getting sick. My body said, no. And so while I was on the table delivering her, I said, I have to sit up so I can burp or something. I feel nauseous. They said, no, you're open. You cannot sit up. Turn your head. And I began to throw up while delivering Zariah, while my stomach, not Anaiah shaking her head, while my stomach was open. And the doctor that was assisting me in that stressed me out so bad. I was like, I need you to go away. I need you to leave. And Hashem then had to come and assist me while I throw up. And
I was on throw up duty. And I had the
little tray cup.
Yes. And I'm just, as you throw up, you're just throwing up right here. And then they're cutting you open at the same time. So I'm keeping an eye on that. And you're throwing up and that's cut open. And I see your whole guts. I see all the red.
But also, the sheet was clear this time because I wanted to be more involved. Yeah. Because I wasn't as involved with Anaiah.
I was very involved in this one. And all of a sudden I started sweating.
No, I looked at you and I said, he's not okay.
Yeah, but my spacesuit was drenched. It was really it was down my back. And I heard there was a woman that rubbed my back afterwards. One of the nurse.
Not some
and a random woman came in. You okay? No, why'd I give her that voice? You okay? Are you okay?
I looked up at Hashem.
Shimmy, are you okay? Are you okay, Shimmy?
You gonna let me talk?
Sorry, go ahead.
I looked up at Hashem and I said, you are not okay. He's not okay. And they come over and they sit you down.
I thought I was fine.
And they gave him some water. When he got up from that seat, there was a puddle.
That was the coldest water I've ever had in my life. It was so good. I remember the taste right now.
Ew. So Hashem almost passed out while I gave birth to Zariah.
No. Your boy was not about to pass out. That was not going to happen.
He was going down.
I was a little nauseous.
He was going down.
But I wasn't going out like that.
He was going down.
Never passed out in my life.
Not yet.
Never.
We've been close to it, though.
Never.
I can recall twice for a fact.
Can you recall I ever did?
Nope. Anyways. So she's finally out. I get to do skin to skin with her. I get to nurse her. She was a fat baby. Very large. Very heavy.
We didn't think she was done.
She used to growl at us.
I'm like, what is this?
And when she'd cry, she
sounded like The Walking Dead. It's full circle.
When she would cry, she would scream as opposed to cry.
I'm like, did y'all clean her out? Did y'all leave anything in there?
But she was perfect.
We brought her back. We definitely brought her back to the hospital.
We just made sure she was breathing okay.
To make sure.
Come to find out she doesn't breathe okay.
I was like, what is this?
She has asthma.
And a Mongolian spot. Like the doctor said. Is she from Africa? Because she has a Mongolian spot? I'm like, there should be more diversity in this hospital, shouldn't there?
Anyways, moving on. So that was, and actually Anaiah and Hashem got to stay in the hospital with me because it was New Year's Eve, and I said I wanted to bring in the new year as a whole family, and we got to stay together, all four of us, bringing in the new year.
That sounds weird.
As
all
a
four
family.
all four of us. I feel like
sweet.
6 people's missing.
It was so sweet.
Johnetta, I know you want to talk about that, but we gotta go to the next one.
You keep talking over me.
I'm not talking over you.
You're saying crazy things.
All right, Johnetta, I won't say anything for this one.
You said, Shimmy, is it okay? Okay, Shimmy.
I just didn't. It would have been weird if I just brought it back up later. Like, you'd be like, what are you talking about?
But that's what you said.
I just want to put it in its proper context.
So when we decided to move to California, it was the week we were leaving. And you went to work. And I had to call my best friend. And she came to pick up me and both of the girls. And I said, I need you to drop me off. And I need you to watch the girls. And I went into an emergency room. And because my doctor was all the way in Rhode Island. I didn't want to drive all the way to Rhode Island. She wasn't going to drive me all the way to Rhode Island. So she took me to an emergency room real quick. And I was spotting. And I couldn't figure out why. And they said, ma'am, you are pregnant. Okay. And so I sent you a text message with a picture. What did it say?
O-S-H-I-T. We're having a baby.
Yep.
And I didn't get it. I thought it was like a funny meme. And a couple of seconds later, I was like, wait a minute. No, we're about to leave. We're about to move.
Yep.
Not now. And then
I kept spotting. And they were like, okay, you need to come back and get your levels checked to see if this is going to be viable, if it's a miscarriage. Your levels are really low right now. So I ended up going to my doctor because I was like, you guys are giving me crazy answers. So I went to my doctor and she was like, okay, your levels are really low. And based off the information from the last hospital and what you're giving us now, the levels have increased, which is technically a good thing, but it's concerning. And then I went back and the levels dropped. And they were like, okay, so your levels are dropping, but not enough for it to be a miscarriage. I went back. The levels have increased, but not enough for this to be a full pregnancy or a proper pregnancy. She said, I'm concerned that this is going to be an ectopic pregnancy. And we were like,
what's ectopic?
It's when you...
No, I mean, that's what I was my reaction,
your,
but you can answer it for everybody.
So an ectopic pregnancy is when you're actually pregnant in your tube as opposed to in your uterus.
It's like I had bad aim or something.
No, the egg didn't go all the way down. So she was like, you still need to be monitored so that we can make sure everything happens. And I was like, yeah, we're leaving to move to California. And she was like, wait, are you still going to go? I was like, yeah, we're going tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Speaking of which, I'm sorry. It's about to be our Caliversary.
It is about to be our Caliversary.
For 10 years.
10 years.
We need to definitely get some In-N-Out burgers.
I don't know what that dance is. I don't know what that face is either.
We should probably just get back to the story.
Oh, okay. They're eating imaginary burgers over there. So I left. We left. All four of us. Took us about a week to get here. We drove to California. We slept. We woke up and I was like, I probably should go to the hospital and figure out what's going on with this pregnancy. We go to the hospital and this man says, yes, you're pregnant in your tube. I'm going to remove the tube. You're going to what? Yeah, we're going to schedule for surgery. And I'm going to remove this tube. I don't know you. I don't I don't like you. Don't touch me. I called my doctor and she was like, tell them to absolutely not remove your tube. To first give you a shot that will clear it out and cause you to miscarry. And then you'll go back and get checked and make sure it's cleared. I got my shot. Everything was cleared. I didn't need to remove a tube. So that would have been a very unnecessary surgery. And I would have been missing a tube. That would have been crazy. She was like, only reason why you would have needed to remove a tube is if it had ruptured or something, which it didn't. And she was like, if you, for any reason, and she also told me, if for any reason on the road, I feel any pain, and even the slightest bit of pain, go to the first emergency room, the nearest emergency room. But we made it safely, and that was an ectopic pregnancy. We're in California for a little while, and I don't remember how I told you I was pregnant with Yasir, but my fourth pregnancy, third child, is Yasir Hashim Lafond. I don't remember how I told you I was pregnant with him.
Is that the time where I threw the birth control? Okay.
That's Zaire.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm a little early.
Yeah. So I was pregnant with Yasir and everything went great. Oh, I was pregnant with Yasir. Things were going great. I passed out once. I was getting a belly cast done, and we were doing photos. First we were doing photos, and we were standing in the room. The room was nice and warm. And I'm like, I'm lightheaded. I sit down for a second, stand back up. I'm going to do the belly cast done, and she's doing my belly cast. And I'm like, I feel like I'm going to pass out. And I passed out.
Yes, you said it. I feel like I'm going to pass out, and you just close your eyes. I said, Johnetta? Johnetta? Please don't leave me with all these kids. I need you, Johnetta, please.
We only had 2 kids at the time, 2.5.
2 feels like a lot.
2 does feel like a lot.
3 feels like it's less than 2.
Yes. So, I passed out at one point, but everything was good. I
called 911.
We went to the hospital.
And then you were in the ambulance, as Anaiah would say. She's like, Mommy's in the ambulance.
But everything was fine.
It didn't look fine.
My blood pressure drops. Apparently, low blood pressure runs in my father's side of the family. That's another story for another time. You can scroll down and see about my father and that history. We're not talking about that right now. We're not talking about that right now. Okay. Focus. They can scroll down or reach out, DM me if you want that story.
That's another episode for sure. That's like a good 2 episodes.
Whole another conversation. So I have low blood pressure. So I passed out. I was fine. Well, I climbed the Culver City stairs.
Well, on the contrast, I had high blood pressure.
Not at that time.
So we balanced it out.
Not at that time. Good luck, kids. Hopefully they
have regular blood
pressure. Just neutral.
Pressure.
Neutral. I climbed the Culver City stairs while I was pregnant with Yasir to the top. I think that triggered a lot of things. What else did I do while I was pregnant with Yasir?
Oh, you think that you mean triggered? Like you think that that's
so
the labor?
I think it had a lot to do with it. I think it created the human that he is today.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. That kid is wild.
So when I found out I was pregnant with Yasir, we decided to try to find a doctor out here. I didn't have a doctor out here.
We got to take him on the stairs.
And tell him to run all the way up.
I bet you in a couple seconds, he'd be like, all right, cool, what's the big deal?
Right, he'd reach to the top. There's sign language communicating to each other. It's really weird.
These cameras? Y'all looking at the camera? All right.
So when we were looking for a doctor, I went to one doctor and I said, I would like to try a VBAC after 2 C-sections. This man says to me, oh, no, you can't do that. Well, why? I mean, I've read and seen that people have done it. We've tried it in the past, and, sometimes some of the woman's uterus ruptures, or the kids come out, and this doctor, this medical professional goes, or the kids, they walk like this. And
they come out looking all weird.
And I was like, get me out of here. I need to get out of here. This person is not touching me. He's not coming anywhere near me. This is awful. He should have his license revoked. That was terrible. So we left, and he was not going to be our doctor.
And I have a dark sense of humor, and I was shocked. I'm like, oh.
We both literally sat there looking at him like this. And so we left. We met with a couple other doctors, and they basically all told me the same thing, that they were not willing to attempt a VBAC after 2 C-sections. So I found one lady that I liked, and I was like, well, I can't have a VBAC with anybody else. So if I had to pick someone to do a C-section, I like this lady. And so I went with her. And she was great. I have no complaints, except for the fact that she ended up getting pregnant and moving to Hawaii, so she was no longer my doctor.
Like,
who does that, right? Who starts their own family?
Yeah.
But I guess it worked out in my favor, because then I found my current doctor, and she probably wouldn't have done so many C-sections.
No.
And he will. So.
That's not the only reason why you got.
But, so, my pregnancy with Yasir was great, until it wasn't. On the day before, he was born a week early. I don't know how far apart him and Zariah are. I think they're like 18 months apart. Maybe less, 17 months apart. So she's December 31st, 2015. He is June 21st, 2017.
Let me know in the comments if you could do that math.
Her birthday being the last day of the year kind of makes things a little... Her timing's crazy. So his mother was coming June 21st. So her flight was arriving June 21st. Yasir was due the following week. No, I was scheduled for my C-section the next week. Or was it 2 weeks? Maybe the next 2 weeks? So she was coming 2 weeks early so she can hang out with Anaiah and Zaire. And me, even though I was pregnant, we could still spend time together. And then after that. So Yasir came 3 weeks early. Yes. And so, what is happening? Stop, you're distracting me. So with him, I was cleaning up the house. I was trying to clean up the house to get everything ready for my mother-in-law to come. And I could not walk. My pelvis hurt so bad. I thought something was going to break. Like, it hurt to walk. It hurt to sit. Everything hurt. My whole pelvis. I've never felt my pelvis before. I know I have a pelvis, but I've never actually felt like, there goes my pelvis. It hurt so bad.
It's usually hard to reach with all that behind you got.
Anyways, so I asked you to take me to the hospital because I was like, I'm in excruciating pain. So the 4 of us, we go to the hospital. Hospital looks at me. They check me. They do everything. Oh, you're fine. You're just in pain. So just take it easy. Lay down. Rest. He looks at me. He goes, all right, cool. You're fine. Let's go home. We go home. And the next day, he's like, all right, I'm going to work. I'll see you when I get back. Mind you, he worked over an hour away. He's like, I'm going to work. I'll see you. And I'm like, you're really leaving me? They said you're fine. I'm going to work. I got to go. Bye. And I'm like, okay, I got to get this house clean. Your mother's coming tomorrow. And I got both of the girls here and I can barely walk. How am I going to get this done? I don't even think I did anything that whole day. I didn't even eat that day. So then I call you and I'm like, you're on your way home? Yeah, I'm in traffic. I'm coming home. Can you stop and get me Select? Why you roll your eyes?
I was already tired from that long drive.
Can you stop and get me Select's pizza, a bag of spicy nacho Doritos, and some ranch? I'm starving. My stomach I feel like I'm having some contractions, but I think I just need to eat. So you do it, and you come home. And you walk in the door and you're like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I feel like I'm having contractions. Yeah, you need to eat. So you give me the food and you said, I'm going to lay down, I'm going to sleep. I'm tired. I had a long day. Understandably so. So I eat and my contractions did not stop after I ate. And I'm like, dang, okay. He's trying to go to sleep because he had a long day. Let me put pajamas on Anaiah and Zariah, like cute pajamas so that they're like dressed. And I'm going to send them to bed. And I send them to bed. And I'm like, hey, babe. And you're like, I'm having contractions. Yeah, you just need to lay down. You've been doing too much. Clean the house. You finally ate. Just lay down. Okay. I say I laid down for about, an hour? And I'm like, yeah, these contractions aren't stopping. They're getting stronger. I need to go to the hospital. Are you serious? They said you were fine. I need to go to the hospital. Okay. Get the girls together. We'll go to the hospital. So I get Anaiah and Zariah up, put them in their car seats, and I get in the car, and you come out. We drive to the hospital, and they check me, and they're like, are you coming in, Dad? Because who's watching the girls? The doctor will be here in about an hour. I remember you said, what do you mean? I said, the doctors will be here in about an hour. She's going to have the baby. We're not going home? You can go home. She's staying here and having this baby. Are you coming in, or are you going to stay out here with your other kids? So your mother is like at the airport getting ready for her flight. She's not there yet. She was supposed to be here when I delivered, but he came early. So my cousin, thankfully, was available. We put him in like the family waiting area, so it was still very public. And he hung out with them, the girls, while they watched Frozen, and I delivered, and they cut me open and delivered Yasir. Now, Yasir is technically considered an emergency C-section because the difference between an emergency and a scheduled, one of the differences, there's other differences, but he's considered an emergency C-section because if he was scheduled, then they would have had me wait like 6 to 8 hours to make sure my stomach was empty, and there's no rush on anything. They let time can pass. So if I come in and I have no signs of labor, then we just wait. And whenever they're ready and a certain amount of time has passed so that my stomach is empty, that's when they do the C-section. Whereas I went in having contractions, we were there for maybe 2 hours before the C-section actually started. So I was there for maybe an hour. The doctor got there and everything started happening. I wheeled into the OR. They do my spinal. They do all of those things. And so they couldn't wait for me to deliver Yasir because I had already started laboring. And with an emergency C-section, or with the C-section in general, they don't want you to labor because the chances of you having a uterine rupture or your uterus rupturing is higher because it's too much stress on your uterus. So because I'm having contractions, the risk is higher, so they want to deliver him as quickly as possible. So he's born. You leave the hospital. You go pick up your mother. You take Anaiah and Zaire. You go pick up your mother from the airport, and then you all come back to the hospital. And I didn't even get a chance to do Anaiah and Zariah's hair, so I ended up doing their hair in the hospital. Everything was pretty much ready for your mom to be there, but not the way I had planned because I was supposed to have another 2 weeks before he was born, but everything worked out.
It's that saying, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Right. And then next kid, Zaire. That's when you threw the birth control, by the way.
It was a dare, like, you won't have more kids.
It was more like, yeah, sure. She's such a nerd.
You can't read. You got to be watching this thing, too. Okay.
She's such a nerd.
Um.
So, next kid was born Zaire Shaddai Lafond, January 16th, 2019. He was born the day after our date anniversary.
You looked at me like I was going to say, like I was going to finish it.
No, I didn't.
I was going to say yes or no.
I knew you.
Yeah, that sounds about
I
right.
knew you didn't know. He was born a day.
Oh, wow. Okay, go ahead.
He was born the day after our date anniversary. We had just moved into our friend's apartment. We were subleasing from her. We were having a hard time finding a place in LA, and
It's almost impossible to find a place in LA.
It has its moments. We were having a hard time finding a place in LA, and she was going away for work, so she was like, we can sublease her place, and it worked out perfect. So we were moving into her place, and you literally were like, we pulled all of our stuff out of storage. that day. So he was born, it was on the 15th. It was our anniversary. We pulled everything out of storage. You built the bed. And I was so tired from moving everything and setting everything up. Getting the girls' room. Finally, it was Anaiah, Zariah, and Yasir's room. They all had 3 cribs. Anaiah was 3, Zari was 2, and Yasir was 1. So we had 3 cribs, and they were set up together. They shared a room, and I was setting up the bassinet, getting everything ready for the baby. And you built the bed, set up the couch, and I was exhausted. And you were like, I built the bed so you can sleep good tonight, but we have to go out and celebrate our anniversary. I was like, I really don't want to. You're like, I think we should. It'll be good. Like, just one night, just me and you out together, and it'll be fine. And so we were like, okay, fine. So we dropped them off at a best friend's house out here, and we went to the movies, and we had fun. Oh, we had just gotten our new car, a new Chrysler minivan, which I love. We got that on my birthday. So my birthday is January 8th. So Zariah's birthday is December 31st. Then my birthday is 2 weeks later on January 8th. A week later on January 8th. And then our anniversary is January 15th. And Zaire is born January 16th. So we had gotten a new car for my birthday so that we can fit all of the kids, our Chrysler Town and Country, which we're still driving. Shout out to Chrysler, because if you know our story, we were in a major car accident. You can run back a couple posts and see about that one too, because we talk about that too. But we decided, for lack of better terms, we went to the movies. We didn't like the movie. We'll talk about that. We decided, for lack of better terms, to christen our Chrysler. We'll say it that way.
You know what I'm saying?
We christened our Chrysler, and we go and we pick up our kids from our friend's house, and she's like, "Hey, do you want me to keep them? Like, just let them sleep over."
Let's just say she didn't need the induction medicine.
You let me finish the story or no?
I'm sorry. Let me shut up. Let me go ahead and finish the rest of the podcast.
Nobody said shut up. Anyways, so are you going to sleep?
No. Go ahead. No, I'm good.
Rude. Lies, as Zari would like to say. Shame. We're like, no, we'll pick them up. It's fine. We'll just come get them. They'll go to bed. So I put them to bed, and by 3 a.m., we picked them up. They got to bed by 1. I go to bed. By 3 a.m., I'm up in pain, contractions. Babe, wake up. I got to go to the hospital. What do you mean you got to go to the hospital? We just got home. Ouch. I have to go to the hospital. I'm having contractions. Let's go. So then we call another friend. We dropped them off at a friend from high school, actually, house, and we're like, can you hang out with the kids? Jeanette's having contractions. Take her to the hospital. Okay, cool. Yeah, another emergency C-section. But this time, I forgot to tell you, I have the current doctor. So when I found out I was pregnant, remember I told you my last doctor, she had a baby and moved to Hawaii. So I had to find a new doctor for this pregnancy, and I had a friend recommend my doctor. And I met with him. He was like, oh, you've had 3 C-sections. Cool. You're about to have a 4th. Okay, great. No problem. Let's do this. So, cool. My C-section was scheduled 2 weeks from that date, because he also came 3 weeks early. And we get to the hospital, another emergency C-section, because contractions had started. They couldn't let me wait, because the risk of a uterus rupture is too high. So he is immediately born, and his nickname is Biggie because he was 8 pounds. 10
ounces.
And
he's very large.
I was so tired.
It's the biggest baby I've ever seen in my life.
I was so tired that I fell asleep while I was delivering him.
I remember asking, hey, would you like to meet him?
Yes, you woke me up. Johnetta, baby, do you want to meet him? I was like, yeah. I'm up. Okay, I'm awake. And I was like, he's so big. He was sweet, though.
He was massive.
He was sweet.
He looked like Honey, I Blew Up the Kid.
No, he didn't. He wasn't that big. It's ridiculous. Because there are babies born bigger than 8 pounds, 10 ounces. But that was Biggie's story. And he was great, healthy. Everything worked out great. Healed. And then, so he was born. So far we have, oh gosh.
Anaiah.
When's your birthday? July 21st, 2020. July 21st, 2014, December 31st, 2015, June 21st, 2017, January 16th, 2019. Then my pandemic baby.
I'm really watching your mouth move. I'm retaining half the information, but the other time I'm just looking at how like your lips and your teeth and your tongue all perform together. I just love the way it looks. But go ahead. If you see me just watching you,
what am I supposed to do with that information?
Just continue talking.
Then I have my 2020 baby, my COVID baby. I was pregnant before COVID, obviously. And she was born July 7th, 2020. What do I say about Adonai? Adonai Rain.
You TikTok danced her out. That's when TikTok started.
Yes, I did TikToks while I was pregnant with her. I did the first quarantine baby shower, pregnant with her. Mm-hmm. Gave away over hundreds of things, baby gifts, because we couldn't have baby showers. So I was like, let's do one online. And let's get all these brands to gift all these moms whatever they need. And we had a blast. Mm-hmm. That was so much fun. If you were part of the quarantine baby shower, hit me up. How's your kids? They 5? They going to first grade? Adonai's going to first grade. What? I can't believe it. And they different. Her birth was different. It was, sometimes I get sad when I think about her birth.
Don't get sad right now.
No, not that sad. I'm not that emotional. I'm an emotional gangster, actually. She, everything went well. She was a little bit scheduled, but not really. I kind of told the doctor that I was coming in because I was already having contractions, but nothing as regular as Zaire and Yasir. But I was already having contractions. So he was like, yeah, so you can come in. When you come in, we'll just do the delivery because you're already having contractions. Want to check on Yirah, please? Silently. So we went in and they made me do a COVID test first. I tried to refuse it. I knew I didn't have COVID, but I tried to refuse it. They literally told me, if you don't do a COVID test after the baby's born, we immediately give it to her father, and you're not allowed to have her.
And you said, "Oh no, don't leave him with him."
No, but my thing was, how do you give her to him, but you don't make him do a COVID test? And then they said, and then we have to keep you on the COVID floor with the COVID patients.
Yuck.
So I did a COVID test, in my opinion, against my will, but I did a COVID test.
That was an old school test when it went straight to your eye.
All the way up. So I did that, and I didn't have COVID, obviously. And so then when I delivered in the delivery room, they tried not to let me do skin to skin with her. And their reasoning was that they didn't have enough staff in the operating room like they usually do. So they only had one doctor, and they were like one pediatrician, I guess. And so they said, because they don't have enough staff to make sure she's safe, I can't do skin to skin with her. So I kind of told you to take her and bring her over, put her on my chest. And you're like, baby, it's okay. I said, give me my baby. I was so frustrated and angry because I was like, just give me my baby. I've done this 4 other times. I know what I'm doing. Give me my child. You kind of brought her and gave it to me, but you kind of wanted to listen to the doctors and nurses, understandably so. But once they closed me up and I got to hang out with her, everything was fine. This was the first time, though, that none of the kids got to come to the hospital to visit me or meet their new sibling. I went to a lot of doctor's appointments by myself. But for the most part, everything was the same other than that. It was just quiet. Just really quiet. And she was great. So that was 2020. And then I got pregnant again, and Yanai was born in 2022. March 7th,
I don't know what's up with you.
2022. For Zaire, Adonai, Yanai, and Yeshua, I had the same anesthesiologist. No, not Yeshua. Not Yeshua. We didn't like him. Zaire, Adonai, and Yanai had the same anesthesiologist. He was amazing. Your anesthesiologist makes a big difference. He talked me through Adonai's delivery and Yanai's delivery so that I could be at peace of mind. Anytime I felt something, if I felt dizzy, a headache, sometimes I get shaky.
That's crazy. The shakiness?
Oh, you don't like it when I get shaky?
Oh, I hated that.
And I start shivering.
He was talking like, I'm like, what is that? But you didn't acknowledge, you didn't tell me anything about it. So what did y'all do to her?
So the anesthesiologist, I also suggest if you know that you're having a C-section. I was saying it
C-section.
If you know that you're having a C-section or you're having a C-section, it's emergency, whatever, communicate with your anesthesiologist. That is your best friend in there. I know your OB is the one doing the full-on surgery, but the anesthesiologist is the one that, for lack of better terms, is keeping you alive. They are making sure you have enough oxygen, your blood pressure is okay, that everything is like level and good. So if you get shivery, headache, nauseous, they can they insert all types of medicines through your IV to help regulate everything that you got going on. And literally they'll be like, if I say I have a headache, oh, don't worry, I'll take care of that. If I say, oh, I'm shaky, oh, don't worry, I'll take care of that. Oh, I feel nauseous. Okay, give me a second. And it goes away. They administer whatever you need at that moment to help keep you relaxed, calm, and comfortable. They can give you medicine for anxiety. Yes. And I actually have to have...
It's probably reefer.
I don't think so. You sound real old saying that. You sound real old.
Inject someone as a reefer.
How old are you? Well, you sound like you're from the 60s.
God.
I actually have to have two
CBD
IVs.
section.
I actually have to have two IVs. One is for the anesthesiologist to administer whatever medications, but the other is for an emergency if I need a blood transfusion or anything like that. They have access to it without having to start an IV, so they can move faster. Is basically what it's for. Okay, so Yanai's birth was pretty much very similar to Adonai's, just I was able to do skin to skin. Because they had more staff, because COVID was, for the most part, over. Mm-hmm. And then Yeshua. I never talked about Yeshua's birth. Is this the time that I should talk about Yeshua's birth?
All of them.
Like I said, I've never talked about it, so this is the first time I'm ever speaking about my birth story with Yeshua.
Okay, I forgot. What do you cautious? What do you?
No, I'm not cautious. No, there's no hesitation.
Okay,
go ahead.
So,
Yeshua was born May 9th, 2024. And my mother came to be here for his delivery. And before Yeshua was born, Hashem decided to take me to Cold Stone and give me some ice cream.
Oh, I remember this story. Okay, go ahead.
Hashem decided to take me to Cold Stone and give me some ice cream. Mint chocolate chip is my favorite ice cream.
Tooth chip.
And I bit into one of their chocolate chips. and it got stuck in my tooth and it cracked my tooth.
The chocolate chip chipped your tooth?
Yes, the chocolate chip chipped my tooth, but it like didn't come out or break off. It was like still attached to my gums. So it was just like dangling, and it hurt so bad. So we tried to go to a dentist. We tried to go to so many dentists to get it get it fixed emergency wise. And they were like, oh no, everybody was scared to fix it because I was pregnant and having contractions. And they were like, yeah, you're like in labor. You need to just you just need to go. So nobody wanted to help me. And I was starting to get really sad about it. So I spent all the rest of that day trying to get someone to help me fix my tooth. And a lot of places were closing. So a lot of places closed. And then I bought some stuff from like CVS or Walgreens and tried to fix it with my mom's help. And that also didn't work. So the next day, I was like, okay, I need to go to the hospital. These contractions are too strong. I need to go to the hospital and deliver this baby. But before I do so, I have to get this tooth fixed. Like, I can't imagine myself trying to recover from this C-section and having a jacked up tooth. Like, I can't do both. So I finally found one dentist, and he was like, I'll do it. He numbed me, pulled out, it was tiny, pulled it out, and I was fine. They were like, what if you bleed out? They gave me so many excuses why they couldn't do it. When I tell you, he just did one little like, doop, and it was gone. I was so happy. I cried. Like, thank you so much. You just fixed everything. I'm going to go to the hospital. I have my baby now.
And then he asked him how much. He said, it's on us. Congratulations. I'm like, then I wanted to cry. I don't have to pay for this. I don't have to pay for this.
And then we went to the hospital, and they admitted me right away. Very similar to Yanai and Adonai. I was already having slight contractions, not emergent, like can't take it, but just contractions where you don't send me home. I'm 37 weeks. Let's deliver. And he was born. He was perfect, healthy, but
Yeshua Shalom.
yes. And
born
May 9th, 2024.
Oh, you trying to throw me off?
I did. Because I had already said it.
2024. I'm like, wait, what happened in 2025? No, because I'm good with the next one. You told me the trick. 2022. No, 2020. 2022. 2024. 2026.
Yes.
2028. Got it. All right, good. What else?
Yeshua and Yanai are actually the only kids that are 2 full years apart. The only ones. Nobody else is 2 years apart.
Why are you so fast?
Maybe you're fast.
I'm not slow. Well, all right.
I had a response. Like, that was such a setup. Like, why would you set yourself up like that? And now Yirah.
The grandson.
Yirah, she's so sweet.
This one's interesting.
Is it?
This one switched it up.
Oh.
It switched up the pattern.
Yeah, Yirah jacked me up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
That's probably why we forgot what happened with Yanai. Because this one was so like different.
Very much a lot. I had been having contractions. So little side story with with Yanai, and I think Adonai, but I can't remember. But with Yanai, I went into labor early at 27 weeks, and I had to get a shot of terbutaline. I remember the name of that stuff because that stuff burns going in. It hurts so bad. And it gives me a headache. It makes my heart race. But terbutaline basically is supposed to stop contractions. So I kind of start laboring early, which is why I said with Adonai, Yanai, and Yeshua, I was already having contractions because I tend to start laboring a little bit early, which is what happened with Yasir and Zaire. I started laboring. So with Yirah, I had been having contractions, and I would have to my doctor would keep giving me terbutaline to stop the contractions. So we called your mom and told her, like, can you just come out? I know you're going to come next week, but can you just come out now? Because there's a strong possibility I won't be able to stay pregnant for another week. So I speed through Anaiah and Zaire, Adonai. I sped through. I was going to say I speed washed, but I did more than just wash. So I sped through getting Anaiah, Zariah, Yasir, Zaire, and Adonai and Yanai's hair done. So, and your hair.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to speed do it. I don't know what I'm trying to say exactly, but I had to do it as fast as I possibly could.
We were in the hospital on a Nick Cannon show during Yanai's
after Yanai was born. After she was born.
Yeah.
She was born, and the next day.
She was the first one. She was the one that was first on TV, like.
Before everybody else, like ever.
Yeah, she was the fastest to get onto TV.
Yes, in the hospital, on the Nick Cannon show. But I got everybody's hair done, and then we dropped off our clothes to Bubbly Mat. Shout out to Bubbly Mat. They saved my whole life.
Yes.
I love Bubbly Mat. They are everything. They wash our clothes, fold our clothes, and they bring us our clothes. So, Bubbly Mat was taking care of our laundry. And what else did I have to do? I did everybody's hair. We did laundry. I feel like there was more things that I had to do. I had to set everybody up for school stuff, prepare for your mom and your sister to come.
The grocery shop for everybody.
And grocery shopped for everybody. While I was pregnant with Yirah, there's been a lapse in our social media. Because while I was pregnant with Yirah, I was struggling. So, low blood pressure. I could not stand up for more than, say, 5 to 10 minutes. I want to say, like, straight. So I was no longer able to cook meals. Anaiah became the house chef, and she's learned how to throw down.
Because the barbecue chicken is the favorite. Because
if I stood up long enough to cook, I would pass out. I could no longer grocery shop without one of the scooter carts. Because if I, again, walked around for too long, I would pass out. So I had to take it really easy with Yirah for this pregnancy. We would do photo shoots, and then I would immediately sit down. I forgot, Yeshua, I got really sick. Remember that? Ended up in the hospital. Why didn't you tell me?
Oh, yeah. The ambulance came to get you again with Yeshua.
Yeah, I got sick, and I got sick with Yeshua. And you can cut it, split them in half.
I'm not cutting anything. No, they got rewind all the time.
Whatever. When I was pregnant with Yeshua, I had eaten some salmon. You ate it too, but you were fine. But I got really sick, and I got so sick that I started having contractions, and I needed to go to the hospital. And the ambulance took me to the hospital, and I was like, I do not want to be here. Get me out of this hospital. So Hashim and the kids came and kidnapped me out the hospital and drove me to my actual hospital. But they were able to stop the contractions, get me hydrated, get everything back, and stop me from being sick. I remember that. And I kept passing out. So that's one of the reasons why he called the ambulance, because I was sick, throwing up and losing all fluids and liquids and solids. But I passed out, and he was like, okay, I got to call the ambulance because and we had all the kids. So yeah, that was with Yeshua. But with Yirah, my blood pressure was really low throughout this pregnancy. So anytime I would stand up, walk around, try to do things, climb the stairs. Once I got to the top of the stairs, I'd have to immediately sit down. So we put a chair at the top of the stairs for me. I had to take a shower and then be able to sit down in the shower. Just daily function was really hard while I was pregnant with Yirah, because I would just be ready to pass out at any given second. Hashem literally wouldn't even let me go anywhere by myself. I would drive, and I'd be like, okay, I have to just sit in the car, because if I get up, it's not going to be good. So we had Hashem's mom and sister come, and I got things done as fast as I possibly could in a very short amount of time, made sure people's hair was done. I had to call one of my best friends, and I was like, please, 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 can you just come over and do my hair? I'm like in labor. I cannot go to the hospital like this. She was like, I can't do singles. I don't have enough time. I have to work. I was like, I don't care what you do. Just do something so that I don't have to touch my hair for at least a week.
I mean,
she
let you lay on the couch, and she kind of just did her. She did your hair while you're like basically on her lap.
Yes, I laid down on the couch, and she was standing up. She twisted up. She gave me a braided bun, and it was glorious. I loved everything about it. It was perfect. It was perfect. And literally the next day, the contractions were so bad. I was like, I have to go to the hospital like right now. We get there kind of at night, right? We went at night. I get to the hospital, and they were like, okay, so your doctor won't be here until maybe tomorrow or the next day. And I'm like, well, you're going to have to call him. And they were like, we're not going to do that. We have done that. He can't come for like 2 days. It was like 2 days, right? A day and a half, because I was there.
Yes.
He didn't come the next day. He came the following day.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, but you're really having contractions. We really have to stop these contractions. So we're going to give you medicines. We're going to do a bunch of things. And I was like, okay, I do not want to take terbutaline because that stuff burns. It makes my heart rate race, and it gives me a really bad headache, like a migraine. They're like, okay, so we're going to give you magnesium. It's a lot more natural. You already have magnesium in your body. We're just going to give you more to calm the contractions and relax your muscles. And I was like, okay, cool. So they give me magnesium. I didn't know magnesium makes you feel like you have completely left planet Earth. So I fall asleep. I wake up. But when I wake up, I'm looking at Hashem, and he looks like he just walked out of a soap opera. That haze, that like dreamy look, or you know how like when you're watching a movie and they go back in time and they make it like all dreamy looking.
I look like a flashback Friday.
Yes, and I'm like, why do you look like that? Wow.
I look like
what is going on? I remember I could barely open my eyes all the way. I was just like, what? Hashem, I gotta get off this medicine. I feel terrible. That's how I felt. That's the best way to describe it. What did I look like to you?
It was just terrible to talk to.
What I said?
It's just you just wouldn't answer questions. You just like you look at me when I ask you a question. I'm like, okay, so maybe I should ask somebody else. Maybe I should ask the doctor or something. Because you're not giving me any answers. You know?
I remember the doctor asking me a question, and I remember going, what am I trying to say? You remember that? I said, what am I trying to tell her?
I caught on eventually, like, oh, maybe she can't answer questions.
So who you have a baby with matters, because I needed to seriously advocate for myself. I hate shots. I know. How do you have 8 kids, 8 C-sections, and you hate shots? I get it. I don't understand it myself. But I was very adamant of, please, I want as few needles as possible. I need to know what the plan is before you start poking me, giving me things, medications. Like, I need to know what is all this for? What is its purpose? How is this helping me? How is it gonna affect me? How's it gonna affect the baby? I need to know as much as I possibly can, and we need to come up with a plan. You're not just gonna do things and tell me this is what we're doing because I said so. No. And so, high off of magnesium, I could not properly form sentences or express myself to properly advocate for myself. So I literally had to look at Hashim and be like, I'm trying to tell them something. What am I saying? And he had to say, she just needs to know the plan. You have to tell her the plan. You have to tell her step by step what's going to happen. And once you tell her that, she will cooperate. She's not trying to be difficult. She just needs to know what is happening so that she knows she is safe and the baby is safe. And they were like, oh, okay, cool. And so the nurses had to stop coming in the room, and the doctor had to actually come in and tell me exactly what was going on. And once the doctor did, loved her. She was great, and she became part of my surgical team. She was actually supposed to leave, but I convinced her to stay. And they were like, we're going to have to give you magnesium, but we're going to take you off because clearly you are not functioning properly. We need to draw blood to make sure that you aren't overdosing on magnesium. So that's to protect you. What are some of the other things that they had to do? People would walk in at like 5 o'clock in the morning and be like, hey, I'm here to draw your blood. No, you're not. Get out. Go away. I already had 2 IVs. The first person that tried to do an IV, they couldn't get it. So they had to call in the anesthesiologist. Thank God he wasn't my anesthesiologist for that time because we had him with Yeshua and he got cursed out by Hashem. You remember that?
That's probably in the moment.
You don't remember that?
I don't remember like...
With Yeshua? The anesthesiologist?
I wouldn't say cursed out, but I have a dad voice.
He thought we were filming him as if somebody wanted him on camera.
I have a way of telling people how I really feel.
You laughed in this man's face. I don't want you on my camera. Trust me. Anyways, so he was the one that did my IV, but it had to get redone by the next anesthesiologist, and I liked this person significantly better. Like, he was great. Great. He wasn't the same person that did the other 3 C-sections, but this one was great. My doctor came in and was like, all right, we got to get this baby out. I think one of the reasons why they waited for my doctor specifically was because I don't think anybody wanted to take the responsibility of doing an 8th C-section. I didn't think about it at that moment. I was also not really thinking much with all those drugs. But I think that's one of the things that happened is I don't think anybody wanted that responsibility of doing an 8th C-section. It was more like, you signed up for this, you're like, doing it.
You know exactly where to do everything.
Yes.
And it's one scar.
Yes. Hold on, we'll get to that.
Okay.
So, the magnesium apparently helped the contractions calm down, but I felt terrible. So we were able to get me off of that. And I think everything went well after that. I started to feel normal. I was able to get up and walk around and function. And then she was ready to be born. And her delivery went great. The whole time I was in the hospital, I wasn't allowed to eat anything, though. But I was so high, I wasn't even hungry. I remember I didn't even ask for food. I think I got to eat not soup, but
you got the munchies?
Broth.
Okay.
No, because I wasn't fed.
I'm joking.
Oh, you went to eat. You left to eat for a minute.
I ate.
Yes, as you should have. I wasn't mad.
Because I didn't eat with Zaire. That's why I was so passy-outy. I mean, allegedly.
You did eat with Zaire because we had breakfast that morning together. That's one of the reasons why I had to wait another 6 hours before they delivered her.
It probably wasn't enough breakfast.
Well, that's your problem. But anyways, and Yirah was delivered, and she was perfect, and she was tiny. She was a preemie, so she was born at 35 weeks.
You didn't want her to go.
And
St. Patrick's Day. On
St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2026. 10 days after Yanai's birthday.
She had an Irish doctor in the NICU.
She did have an Irish doctor in the NICU. So they had to take her to the NICU. When she first came out, they said she had some labored breathing. but I think they were able to get that under control. They just gave her like oxygen and stuff, right? I couldn't see her at first.
Yeah, when she was first born, she was breathing, but she was like doing that, like she was like struggling to breathe. And then the doctor tried to come in and like try to intervene as much as he could, but he eventually was like, hey, there was one doctor, one of the staff that said, I'm sorry, she really needs to go to the NICU. And
they tested her sugar.
Yes.
And the number was 0.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to breastfeed her and nurse her. She was ready to latch on. She was doing great. But they said that it was still too low and that they needed to take her and give her a sugar IV.
Yeah, they said that they explained that she needed a little help. She needed a little bit more help with her breathing.
She just woke up, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
She heard us talking about her. So while she was in the NICU, which was a terrible experience, but I can honestly say that it helped me heal. Her being in the NICU made it easier for me to fully heal. So I didn't have to pick her up or put her down. There was no strain on my stomach at all. Because I didn't have to like, I don't want to say I didn't have to take care of her, but like I wasn't by myself to take care of her. Not that you're not there, but when you're in the NICU, they do everything for you. So when I would go down to the NICU, they would pick her up and put her in my arms. And then when I couldn't carry her anymore, they would take her from me and put her back in the incubator. Boston. She might not need that.
Say the last part again.
So, unlike being in a regular recovery room or your postpartum room, where you pick up your baby and carry your baby yourself in and out of the bassinet, in the NICU, they wait till you sit down, then they hand you the baby. And then when you're done, or when they have to take the baby from you, they come and take the baby from you and put the baby back in the incubator or do all the things. So I wasn't even changing her diaper, or I wasn't picking her up out of her bassinet. You're looking at me because you hear me talking about you. I didn't have to actually pick her up. She was placed into my arms always for her the whole time she was in the NICU.
The NICU, they were funny. They said, no, mothers act like that all the time. There's no way they're gonna let her in here. And they said, oh, here she goes.
Yeah, so I had to fight for Yirah.
You came in there on the stretcher. What's the thing called?
The gurney.
On the gurney.
So right after they closed me up, after I was in my recovery room, they had to stay in recovery for an hour or 2 hours. So I had Hashim and Yirah were in the NICU together. So I was by myself.
Yeah, I had to explain to you, like, hey, I'll be here, and I won't leave.
Yes, because I was like, I do not want her to be by herself at all. I wasn't playing about that. So he stayed with her, and then before they took me to my room, they brought me in the gurney to see her, and I got to hold her, nurse her, because that was really important to me. So I got to nurse her, and then they brought me to my room, and I was like, okay, you're going to get in your bed. Once you get in your bed, you can't get up. Well, I need to go back down to the NICU. Oh, no, you can't do that. You can do that tomorrow. I can do that when? Tomorrow. I'm not waiting I just had a baby. I'm not waiting a full day to see my baby. Are you crazy? Oh, well, we can't let you get up. You have to stay in the bed for 24 hours. No, I don't. First of all, this is not my first C-section. Second of all, no. Well, then keep me in the gurney. Keep me in the gurney and then just push me down there and then bring me back. Like, you did it just now. Do it again. Oh, no, we can't do that. We have to get you out the gurney. That's not safe. How is this less safe than being in that big old bed right there? We have to put you in the bed. So they put me in the bed. And because I have a relationship with my doctor, he knew I'm not staying in here. So he said 12 hours after the anesthesia, I can go see her. So I think it's like 6 hours had already passed. No, it wasn't 6 hours. It had 12 hours. It had to be like 6 hours after anesthesia. I can go see her. I can get up out of the bed. And so I kept asking him that he said 6 hours after anesthesia. 3 hours has already passed. Now another 3 hours has passed. It should be 6 hours now, right? I kept looking at my watch, kept looking at the clock, and they kept ignoring me. And I was like, this was like 3 o'clock. I should be able to go see her. I should be able to go. She was born, I think I had anesthesia like 6 o'clock in the morning, something crazy like that. Or not, by 9 o'clock she was born. Like, I should be able to get up and go see her. They kept trying to ignore me. I kept calling. So then the supervising nurse, they were like, okay, we have to see if you can stand up. So they gave me some device to see if I could pull myself up on this device. I got up. Okay, sit down in the wheelchair. So then they started to wheel me down. They said, oh, you can only stay down there for an hour because we can't leave you down there. We have to keep a nurse with you at all times. I said, what? Yeah, the nurses, they can't just leave their station for over an hour. I understand that, but I'm gonna stay there. Like, I'm not leaving. So they took me down, and the nurse was like, we need to go now. You can go ahead. I understand you need to do your job. I'm fine. I'm in a hospital. I'm with my baby. I'm not moving. I'm fine. And she kind of left me for a little bit, and they didn't like it, but I wasn't leaving. And then I went back. I pumped. I went to sleep. I gave you some time, and I sent milk because they wanted to give her formula. I said, absolutely not. They said, but you're not producing enough. I said, I have milk. She's getting everything she needs. She's good. And she was off. She was out of the NICU by like day 3, day 4. Yeah. The problem was, and then we ran into another problem where they wanted to have her stay because they felt like she was losing too much weight. And she was already pretty tiny. But I just kept nursing her. So when they checked her one last time, she had gained a little bit, like an ounce. And they were like, okay, she's free to go. But I had to fight for her and work really hard.
We had to take a CPR training class.
Yes. And she
car seat test.
Pass a car seat test.
That means staying in the car seat for like what?
An hour. I think it was an hour and a half. I think so.
And also just do the whole CPR training again.
But she doesn't want it, baby. She's happy. She's fine.
I was trying to get her to be quiet.
Oh, she will talk. She's a talker. She has things to say.
How do you want to close this up?
I keep bumping this.
Anything else you want to say?
So people want to know, I have one scar. My doctor cuts in the same spot, has been cutting in the same spot. Every time I have a C-section, he cleans up the scar, so he removes any like scar tissues. I do not have like a crazy amount of scar tissue. After one of my C-sections, I couldn't even begin to tell you which one. I want to say Yanai. They were like, wow, you have no scar tissue? You were made for this. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. Which was crazy to hear. Though it should sound like a compliment, it was still crazy to hear. So I don't have scar tissue or any scar tissue that's concerning. I've never been told I should stop. My doctor has told me there's some windowing, but nothing that was concerning. He said he closes up my uterus and he makes sure that it's secure and that it's safe. When I do have my surgery, I get my abs closed up also so that I don't have diastasis recti, which is how my abs are split.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
From the pregnancy. So he closes my abs back together surgically. Yeah, one scar. It looks great. It's quite lovely, actually. I'll show you one day. My stomach hangs. It's like a bag. I call it a bag. I'm bigger than I usually am. I usually lose weight a little bit faster. With Yirah, Yeshua, and I want to even say Yanai. It's taken me a little bit longer to lose weight than it has in the past. But I don't care. My first priority is making sure I nurse her. I usually breastfeed for a year, and then around 15 months, I start weaning them. One, because I'm usually pregnant and it starts to get irritating and it hurts. But my first focus is breastfeeding. When she's about 6 months, she'll start eating solid foods or foods in general. Once she starts eating foods, then that's when I usually take the time to start, I guess, for lack of better terms, diet. But I start to watch what I eat a little bit more, and I start to exercise a little bit more. But right now I don't want to do anything to have my milk supply drop. So my main focus is making sure I can breastfeed. My stomach is numb around the scar area. Actually a little above, so like right here, below my belly button, above the scar, my stomach tends to be a little bit numb. But numb in the sense of it tingles. So I can feel something touching me, but it doesn't feel like touch. It feels like pokey, tingly, like if your foot fell asleep. I don't like to wear jeans because the button usually hurts. I don't like when things go under my stomach and lay on my scar. It just feels really weird. Not so much that it hurts, it just feels really weird. I massage my scar to try to loosen it up so that I can try to hopefully get rid of the shelf. If I do, great. If I don't, whatever. I had 8 kids. What else is there to know?
Well, one of the questions we get a lot is, after 8 babies, 8 C-sections, the question we get the most is, are we done? And my answer is, we're still together.
What?
No, yeah, I know postpartum could be a lot, but we're still together.
If I didn't have to have C-sections, of course I would not. It was not my birth of choice. I wanted to have a natural water birth. I thought it would be so beautiful. I had to come to terms with the fact that won't happen, and I still want to have kids. So let's just do it. Am I afraid? Every single time, absolutely. But once it starts, it's over so fast that it's kind of like, whatever, I'm here now. The scariest thing for me, honestly, is getting my spinal. With Yirah, actually, Hashem was able to hold me and help me with my spinal, but then he started getting passy-outy. That's what we like to call it. He started getting lightheaded. My anesthesiologist was having a little bit of difficulty getting my spinal placed, and I was like, there's liquid going down my back, and he was like, I'm done. I can't do it. You're on your own. And so he left, and
I felt so bad. I didn't want to leave you by yourself, but also I didn't want people cleaning me up.
Well, you did what you felt was best in the situation.
I figured you had it from there.
I cried after my spinal. Well, I was getting my spinal. I hate getting the spinal. That's the worst part for me. I think it hurts really bad. I think the positioning is terrible. I don't know. They need to make some sort of device that we can hang on, even though they say you can hold on to the nurses. Sometimes them little tiny nurses, or you sitting on this high bed, nurses aren't tall enough. We need to make some sort of device for us to hold on to. That's all I'm saying.
Man-shaped one like me.
Sure. Man spinal support, maybe. We'll work on that. The spinal is actually the hardest part. I don't have any pain from my spinals. Sometimes I get bruised, right? I get like a bruise around my spinal, so it hurts sometimes when I sit back. I always get a band, and I wrap my stomach with a band, and I wear that for like 3-4 weeks up until after.
Bands and good dance.
I will not get in the car without my band. I actually wore the Mom Cozy compression shorts and underwear after Yirah.
They didn't sponsor this.
They did not sponsor this. I probably shouldn't have used their name. Well, they were compression shorts after with Yirah, and I loved them. They were more comfortable than wearing the band, because sometimes the band rolls up on me.
That means let's wrap it up.
Anyways, the band rolls up sometimes on me because I got a big butt.
Big old butt. I know I told you I'll be true.
This is why it's taking so long.
All right, I won't say anything.
Nobody said don't say nothing. You just... Anyways.
What do you expect me to respond? Oh, yeah. Johnetta got a big old butt. Oh, yeah.
The band rolls up on me, so sometimes I don't like to wear that. I prefer the compression shorts.
I have a song about your butt. It's called Bouncy.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to know? I mean, I'll tell you. I'm open book. Would I do it again? I would like to have twins. If I can guarantee twins, I'd probably be like, yes, last one.
You want like a 2-in-1 deal?
I would love a 2-in-1 deal. I still have my tubes. I'm still able to get pregnant. I have an IUD.
That thing's still juicy.
What?
All right. So, thank you for watching House of Lafond podcast, and like, subscribe, and if you're a brand and you're tired of influencers being all up in the videos,
Wait,
dancing,
we're gonna be in the videos. We're gonna be dancing.
come to House of Lafond.
If you want a family of influencers all up in your videos dancing, right? Isn't that how it? No.
You know what to do. HouseofLafond.com. I'm out.
Bye.
Deuces.
I hit the what is this thing called? The microphone.
Yeah, don't mess that up.
So bye.
Peace. We can cut.